Alrighty, guys. Today we are going to be breaking down the top 5 regions that I believe are going to be the next future countries recognized by the United Nations. These are not including Niue and the Cook Islands that are currently in free association with New Zealand, or Kosovo, which is currently disputed as being part of Serbia, due to them all being special members of certain United Nations special committees. Now, let's establish what the requirements are to be defined as a country. So that there is no confusion, a country is a place with a defined territory, a permanent population, and a government. Now you may ask, isn't that a city or a county or a province as well? Well, yes it is, but the key factor is sovereignty. Now sovereignty is defined as a self-governing state. And to my American viewers, a state is not the type of state that you are thinking of. What Americans may call a state is part of a federal state, which is an overarching government that oversees and shares powers with the states below it in a sort of hierarchy, as opposed to a sovereign state that governs itself and fits the criteria previously stated. Now, let's dive deeper into the video. The first region that we're going to go over today is the Autonomous Region of Bougainville. This region consists mainly of the Bougainville and Buka Islands, as well as several outlying islands that are currently part of Papua New Guinea. Existing in the country's far east, in 2019, Bougainville's residents took part in a non-binding independence referendum with 98.3% of the population voting for independence, with the intent to be finalized between 2025 and 2027, pending the approval of the Papua New Guinea government. And the government of the current autonomous region released a draft constitution for its future government in May of 2024. There wasn't a strong international or internal pushback as far as has been openly expressed. So, this appears to be the most likely region to gain independence in the next few years, and without much international pushback, it seems likely that most, if not all, of the UN members would vote for inclusion in the international body. Bougainville has a modest population of around 300,000 residents, and it's only around 3,600 square miles, or around 9,300 square kilometers. The region gained its autonomy in June of 2002, just after under a decade of civil war with Papua New Guinea, which itself had gained independence from New Zealand only a little over 10 years prior to that. So, the history that led Bougainville to its hopeful independence has not been easy, but it does look like it is the most likely place to gain international recognition by the United Nations, and without any wars or political ramifications at that. The next region we're going to cover is a region that doesn't quite exist yet, and was a topic of the last video on this channel, and that is the sovereign state of the Bektashi Order. This is a region recently announced that came to light as a result of the 2024 United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York City, when Albania's prime minister expressed his plans to create a Muslim state in the middle of eastern Tirana, the capital of Albania, which would be a Vatican-style sovereign enclave controlling only around 27 acres of land. The would-be sovereign state would have its own officially recognized administration, passports, and borders, but would lack proper border checkpoints, a military, or courts, and allow alcohol, let women wear what they want, would impose no lifestyle rules, and would occupy just a quarter of the size of the Vatican City, currently the world's smallest sovereign state. The Bektashi Order is a sect of Islam that mixes a loose interpretation of the Quran with elements of mysticism, the Turkish pre-Islamic faiths, and a devotion to their deceased wise men called dervishes. They moved their headquarters to Tirana around a century ago after Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the founder of the Turkish Republic, forced them to cease their operations in the country. Having more contradictory practices by many conservative Shiites and Sunnis, the Bektashis have been very prominent in Albania and other Balkan countries since the Ottoman Empire's conquest of the area during the 14th and 15th centuries. Members of the Bektashis also played a prominent role in Albania's nationalist uprising against the Turks, with one of its members, Ismail Kamali, declaring Albania's independence from the Ottoman Empire back in 1912. Currently, a team of legal experts is drafting legislation defining its sovereign status in Albania that would only come to fruition if approved by Albania's parliament, which is highly likely, given that it is currently controlled by Mr. Rama's governing Socialist Party, by which his word is highly cherished, and that Albania's somewhat small 2.5 million resident population is about 50% Muslim, with the Bektashi Muslims making up around 10% of the Muslims in the country. The third region that we're going to cover is Taiwan, lying to the southeast of mainland China. This is, of course, a very controversial region that may or may not gain recognition, or, depending on how you look at it, re-recognition to the United Nations. The government of Taiwan, which goes by the name the Republic of China, claims to be the sole legitimate government of China, having fled to the island of Taiwan in 1949 after their defeat by the People's Liberation Army of the Chinese Communist Party, which would go on to found the People's Republic of China, a story for another day, and causing an international debate on whose claim to be the legitimate representative of China to the United Nations should be recognized by. That would be settled on the 25th of October, 1971, when Resolution 2758 of the United Nations was passed, recognizing the People's Republic of China as the sole legitimate representative of China to the United Nations, and expelling the representatives of the Chiang Kai-shek's government, the Republic of China's leader at the time, from the UN, due to increasing protests, representation, and support on a local and international level for Taiwan, such as, in July of 2023, when the United States House of Representatives passed the Taiwan International Solidarity Act, clarifying the resolution did not make any statements in regards to Taiwan's sovereignty, followed by similar statements from the Australian Senate and the Dutch House of Representatives in 2024. As of June 2024, Taiwan's official policy position was that Resolution 2758 did not discuss Taiwan and, in quotes, the issue of Taiwan's sovereignty or representation at the UN was beyond the resolution's viewpoint, end quote. The reason that I feel this is a potential contender to be one of the next regions recognized is simply due to the overwhelming support in the news for Taiwan's independence, as well as its no doubt support if it came down to a serious conflict or intervention of any kind in the future from the Western world, just due to its long-standing self-reliance and already pre-established partnerships in many ways other than formal recognition. The fourth region I want to cover is Western Sahara, or the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, lying to the south of Morocco, known as the last African colonial state yet to achieve independence, and has been dubbed Africa's last colony. The region administers only around 30% of the territory that it claims at around 31,900 square miles or 82,500 square kilometers, the rest being controlled by the Moroccan government at around 69,000 square miles or 178,700 square kilometers. It is the most sparsely populated country in Africa and the second most sparsely populated in the entire world, with around 618,000 residents and 40% of the population residing in the capital of Laayoune, currently controlled by Morocco. Occupied by Spain until 1975 and having been on the United Nations list of non-self-governing territories since 1963, in 1975, Spain gave up control of the region to a joint Moroccan and Mauritanian-controlled jurisdiction. A war engulfed in the region between the two countries and the Polisario Front, which claimed itself to be the rightful leadership of the SADR, with a government in exile operating out of Algeria. Mauritania eventually withdrew its claims in 1979, and Morocco secured de facto control of most of the territory. After a 1991 UN agreement for a ceasefire, Algeria supports the remaining controlled territory of the SADR, along with the SADR receiving support from 46 UN member states and South Ossetia, and was extended membership in the African Union. However, in 2020, the U.S. recognized Moroccan sovereignty over Western Sahara in exchange for Moroccan normalization of relations with Israel. And in 2023, Israel recognized Moroccan sovereignty as well. Despite this, support for and recognition of independence for the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic's control over Western Sahara continues to grow and does appear to be going in the direction of nominal and legitimate sovereignty over the region. Fifth and finally, the last region we will be going over today is Somaliland, the largest unrecognized state in the world by de facto land area, and currently the only sovereign government not recognized by any other states, UN member or otherwise. This may seem surprising to some of you, given that it is currently recognized by none of the UN member states, save for a memorandum of understanding with Ethiopia. But with its international relations growing and its contacts currently consisting of neighboring Ethiopia and Djibouti, as well as 13 other nations across 4 continents, the region lying to the northwest of Somalia consists of an area of 68,000 square miles or 176,120 square kilometers, with a population of around 6.2 million people. In the late 19th century, the United Kingdom signed agreements with various clans in the area, establishing the Somaliland Protectorate, which was formally granted independence as the State of Somaliland on the 26th of June, 1960, which was recognized by 35 countries before, 5 days later, the State of Somaliland voluntarily united with the Trust Territory of Somalia, formerly Italian Somalia, to form the Somali Republic. The union was problematic right away in response to the harsh policies enacted by Somalia's Barre regime against the main clan family in Somaliland after the conclusion of the 10-year Ogaden War of Independence, which concluded with the declaration of Somaliland's independence in 1991, with the Somaliland government declaring itself the successor of British Somaliland. In contrast to its generally widely recognized unstable southern neighbor, Somalia, Somaliland continues to have a democratically elected government with its own currency and military, allowing the economy to steer significantly away from the government of Somalia, along with its oil explorations led by Genel Energy and its Port of Berbera and DP World Berbera Newport, as well as its controversial, recently signed Memorandum of Understanding with Ethiopia to build a port on a strip of land on the Red Sea, paving the way for its international recognition by other nations as well. That being said, those are the next 5 regions that I believe will gain recognition from the United Nations in the coming years. As you can see, they come from a variety of areas and are claiming sovereignty for a variety of different reasons. So, I'm curious as to what you guys think about this list, and if you have any other areas you think belong on this list, or if you think anything on my list is completely out of the question. So, please sound off in the comments down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. And also, please let me know what other videos you guys think I should make in the future. Alrighty guys, have a great day. Bye for now.